So, just wanted to share this beauty with you. So, it would be a little bit crazy to not appreciate the beauty of those flowers, wouldn't it? And yet, there are people in the world who would look at the flowers and only see what they did not like about them. They might feel displeased with the arrangement or the colors or the choice of bloom. And perhaps that some of the flowers are wilting, and they would overlook completely the beauty of the flower and the gratitude for the presence of these flowers. And that is exactly what I was discussing today with a very dear friend of mine. She had had an experience of such an attitude. And we were talking about why on earth people can't seem to see and appreciate the gifts that we are given. And I was saying to her that I'm reading a book about brain chemistry and the 4 types of chemicals that, or 5, that influence our behavior: serotonin, endorphins, oxytocin, cortisol, and dopamine. Dopamine, exactly. So, of these, serotonin influences our feeling of status, how superior or inferior we feel in the social hierarchy, which has some obvious survival benefits. The whole idea of the alpha and the tribe and the benefits that come with being higher in the hierarchy. However, this chemistry has some perverse effects, which is that in our world, we're not as concerned with immediate battle for superiority. We instead kind of transmute that into the small day-to-day niggling ways that we might judge other people, put other people down, troll on the internet, and including looking down upon or somehow taking away from the value of an experience that we're having, especially if it's in relation to other people and perhaps a better experience that we would have than they do. Then you are actually activating the serotonin response for yourself by virtue of comparison. So why do we have that reaction instead of the gratitude reaction? Because actually, as my friend pointed out, both responses will produce the same result. So you can put someone or something else down in order to feel better, or you can feel grateful for the status that you have in order to be able to experience something. So, and clearly, one way of looking at things is ultimately going to lead to permanent dissatisfaction, because you're always going to have to be better and better and better than someone, and there will always be someone who's better than you. And so you'll just be caught in this dissatisfied loop versus feeling grateful and feeling appreciative, where you will continuously be in a virtuous cycle of feeling good. And so, both approaches will give you short-term good feelings. One approach will give you long-term good feelings, and the other will give you long-term bad feelings and probably suffering, because suffering is simply being out of alignment with our true nature, which is love and contentment. And so why one and not the other? Well, in terms of survival, we also have a tendency to focus on the negative. We have a natural tendency to give a disproportionate amount of attention and recollection to the negative versus the positive. So that could be one reason. Or it could simply be that in the course of our lives, we adopt one strategy or the other, depending on how we experience life. And so it might just be the case that some people have found it to be more natural, and it's been more present in their awareness to respond in the negative way, where their status depends on putting other people down. That might come through upbringing and childhood experiences. Or you might have been fortunate enough to have cultivated a position of gratitude and appreciation. So it might not be anyone's fault. It might just be the default operating mode and the way that we've learned to generate these chemical reactions. So the bottom line is, next time you notice that you are making a judgment or positioning yourself as somehow better or an experience or criticizing something, just notice that that's what you're doing and see if you can shift into a position of gratitude for something in that experience.